Hi everyone. In this video we're going to cover the basic navigation of PlanetTogether. We've had a lot of requests for this video and it's about time we got around to making it, so here we go. What you'll notice on my screen is basically the screen you're going to see when you launch PlanetTogether for the first time. You're going to see some web pages in the middle and some tabs showing our learning homepage, our services, our support web page, the download page where you can download the server and the client, and our knowledge base, which is completely searchable from this page. But this is just essentially a way for us to load a web page into our software. What you'll see on the left-hand side here, and most likely you'll see a bunch of these when you load the program for the first time. But these are the workspaces, and they're a way for us to provide you some standard configurations in PlanetTogether. And ideally, you're going to choose one of these, and you'll probably just stick with it for the rest of the time you use PlanetTogether, because these are really just starting points. They all do pretty much the same thing. What they do is they try to control what's being shown on the screen. So in this case, I have the home workspace showing. So the home workspace is very simple. It's showing me one button on the toolbar, a couple tabs, a new features tab and a Windows tab. And that's really it, and it's showing me this center section. Now, in contrast to this, let's take a look at the detailed scheduling workspace. If I double click here, it's going to load the detailed scheduling workspace. I'll just give it a few moments. You'll notice my detailed scheduling workspace, I now have many more menu options, and I see a lot of tabs here at the bottom where I'm seeing the Gantt and the Jobs tab and Activities, and these are the normal panes that I would work with in PlanetTogether. So what I usually do is when I pick a workspace, I like to stay with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the ones I don't want. So I'm going to go back to home. I'm just going to click on this X and hit yes. Capacity planning, yes. And let's just remove these so that it doesn't confuse me in the future. But I do encourage you to click through all of these, see if one suits your fancy, but they're all pretty much the same. Just a starting point. And if you're coming from, if you're upgrading from an older version of PlanetTogether, you might look at this and say, whoa, this is a lot different. My menu buttons are in the different places here. You can always load the View Classic layout view, and that'll get you back to that state of PlanetTogether before you upgraded. But not too much is different. Don't worry if you get rid of these, because I'm going to show you in a second that if I did get rid of some workspaces I want to click through again, I can simply go to the Shared tab, and there they are again. They're always going to be in the Shared tab. I can load one if I want, just load it back again. And so a workspace, like I said, it controls what you're seeing on the screen. In this case, the menu options, some of the tabs at the bottom, and then some of the layouts in the grids, and I'll show you that later. But now we've decided on one workspace, we're just going to stay with it. So I'm gonna close my home pane here, and there we go. I'm left with the Gantt. And now I really don't have to worry. Every change I made is going to be saved in that detailed scheduling workspace, and that's my workspace. I can do whatever I want to it, and no other users have to will be affected. So let's start here with the panes at the bottom. Like I said, the panes at the bottom are the main navigation really of PlanetTogether. I'm looking at the Gantt right now, and this shows me my scheduling Gantt. I zoomed in pretty far here, but I'll zoom out a bit. I'll go through these. We also have the Jobs view. We have the Activities pane. We have a Capacity Plan view, Inventory Plan, our Analytics, which is a web page, and we have a KPI view. Now, if I don't see a tab down here, or if for some reason, say, I somehow hid my KPI tab, there is a menu option here, and I already have it loaded at the top here. So what I'm going to do is, let me remove this from the Quick Access toolbar. I'm going to go to my Windows tab. This is a really important button on the toolbar, and it's under the Windows, and it's called Show Pane. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and say add to the quick access toolbar. And that's going to put it up top here because it's a very important button. And when I click on it, you'll see all the different panes in the software. So like I said, I got rid of my KPI tab and I want to get it back. So I just simply go up here and I say go to key performance indicators, and it'll load that pane back. And I can use this for navigation too. I can either come down here, click on Gantt, Jobs, Activities, or I can come up here and click on Gantt, or I can click on Jobs, or I can come and click on Activities. So it's just a way of navigating. I think that's one of the most important buttons besides refresh, optimize, and those other main controls. But this is a great way to navigate. And I would say get this on your quick access toolbar. It's the best way to navigate the system. And so while we're talking about toolbars, let's go through some of the buttons up here. You're probably going to stick to the Favorites tab. This has most of the options that most people use, but there's many others. And let's see if we can just kind of step through the favorites quick. So in the Favorites tab, we've got Refresh Planning Data, which this cycles the data with the SQL Server usually. So this will pull in your fresh data for the day. View Error Log button, that will let you view any import errors you get, maybe some data changed and it's not flowing in correctly. So you can take a look at that and say, oh, okay, I know exactly what I've got to go fix to get those the data flowing in properly. We've got the Optimize button. This optimizes based on the optimize options that you have set. So after you refresh the planning data and you've got new jobs in the system, you can hit Optimize and they will schedule. Essentially, this is the schedule button. It takes any jobs, or actually takes all jobs, and re-optimizes them on the schedule. Compress idle time. We have two forms of compressing the idle time. We have a just-in-time compress, which will move things to the right, but not past their just-in-time date. So we'll not make them late, but it'll try to get them as close to their just-in-time date as they can. And we have the legacy compress idle time, and it shifts operations to the left to remove idle time. And you can see it's nice if you hover over these, you get a little explanation. And then on results, we've got the KPI button and the analytics button, which is the same as clicking KPI down here. It just jumps to the KPI screen, as you can see. So not too much different there. But publish is, I like to think of it as the opposite of refresh. Publishing your scenario pushes the data from PlanetTogether back to your ERP. Let's look at some of these other tabs here. So if I get off the Favorites tab and I go to Plan really has all of my planning options. You can see my refresh data is still there, advancing the clock. So as the days move in my schedule every day, I can advance the clock one day to make things as realistic as possible. And there's options associated with all these, you'll see. So I've got Optimize, and I have Optimize options. And I have Compress, and I have Compress options, and I have Publish, and I have Publish options. In the Scenarios tab, we have some a little more advanced options. We have our Capable to Promise feature. We have the Comparing Scenarios feature, where you can compare your live scenario to a what-if scenario or a published scenario, or something, an advanced feature would be the Copilot scenario. Under the Report tabs, just as you would expect, we have some reports that we have built in. We also have quick access to the analytics and some other reporting tools. Under the Data tab, this is really probably for your system admin, but we've got data mappings, which helps you map fields from the ERP to PlanetTogether. We have user settings. We have system options. We also have ability to configure the resources and capacity, and to look at your setup tables and product rules and all that sort of thing. Similar to the resources tools, we have inventory tools, so you can look at all your items, but your sales orders, your purchase orders. This is really from a configuration standpoint where you would go, but you're probably, if you're a scheduler, you probably won't be hanging out in here too often. And back to the Windows tab, essentially, like I said, the most important thing in here is that Show Pane drop-down. and all we did was right click on it and added it to the quick access toolbar, which is right up at the top here. I should mention on the quick access toolbar you get this little red arrow which lets you exit the system. You have an undo and redo, and you have this user collaboration form where you can chat with different users in the system. You also have a view error log button, and we also have the workspace drop down, which was the list of workspaces that we saw on the left hand side at the beginning of the video. And I'm really not using workspaces anymore here because I picked the one I wanted. So I'm going to right click on this and say remove from quick access toolbar. So that's a little bit about the toolbar there. I want to go into how you can configure the windows like you want to see them. So for example, I want to see the Gantt, but I also want to see the capacity plan right next to it. But it's hard, you know, when I click on the Gantt, I see the Gantt. When I click on the capacity plan, it shows me this full screen capacity plan. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this tab and drag this capacity plan pane, and you'll notice I get this classic Windows positioning icon here. And I'm going to pin the capacity plan to the right. So I just hover over the little right hand block here and I let go, and there I have it. Now I have a capacity plan on the right, and I can click back on my Gantt, and I've got my Gantt on the left. Let's see if I can get some data to show here. That's a lot of data. Let's go by day. There. So that's a great way to see panes side by side if I want to get everything back. Or actually I should say, what if I want panes on another monitor? Well, I can just come down here and grab the activities pane and drag it, and you'll see I actually attached it in the middle, so I'm going to drag it back out and just kind of let it float here. So I'm just going to have it up at the top. So now it's by itself, and I can resize it, and if you can imagine me pushing it over to another monitor, that's what I'm doing. I can push it right over to another monitor. So I'll bring it back here, and we'll just drag this into, let's see, we want it down there, so let's just drag it right to the center here, and it'll pop it back down with all these other tabs. So I hope that gives you a little insight into how to move the panes around. If you get lost for some reason, if you are right clicking on the Gantt and you hide it for some reason and say where's my Gantt, you can just go right up to that drop down, click on Gantt, and you're back. So you'll never lose a pane this way. And so the last bit of general navigation I guess I should click on is having to do with the grids. So for example, let's bring up a grid here. Let's bring up the jobs grid, and I'm going to put, let's see, I'm just going to minimize this capacity plan a little bit. So here's my jobs grid. And you can see here I'm showing 135, I'm showing every job. But what the grids have are layouts, which is this little button right here. Sometimes if you don't see this bottom row on these grids, and you'll see this on every grid, but if you don't see it, sometimes the grid, it's minimized like this. So you have to click on this little purpley blue show layout toolbar button, which will pop this up for you. And I can click on, if I make any change here, you'll see the same thing, but if I can click on this manage layouts button, and it'll bring up the layout toolbar. And so what I'm showing is, I'm showing all jobs. Basically, this list is showing me all jobs, but built into this list we also have some presets. So I can look at, let's see if we have any unscheduled jobs. We don't have any unscheduled jobs. Let's go back here and let's look at my late jobs. Let's go to late jobs, and you'll see I'm showing 66 out of 135 jobs. 166 jobs are late. And so that's a great way to navigate through the, we call these layouts, so, but you could call them views, whatever you want, but it's it's a great way to cycle through using the drop-down menu. Now I can also create different layouts and such. I could copy this one, so I can say new, and I want to say I'm going to call this my priority 5. So I'll create that, and then now I've created a priority 5 view. It's basically just a copy of my previous view, and I'll filter this on, I'll say 5. So now I'm on my priority 5 view, and I need to save these changes that I just made. So I save that, and there we go. Now I can flip from my priority 5 view to my late jobs very quickly, and we can go right back. Let's see, where is that one? Priority 5. And you'll also notice we've got these buttons up here. There was this 66 late jobs. Well, that's exactly how many late jobs I have, right? This is a job alert. It's telling us how many jobs are in this grid. So instead of navigating the system where I can go here and click on late jobs, I can also just click on this button, and it's almost like a quick jump menu. So I can click late jobs, and it will load my late jobs layout right here. And now to create one of these alerts is pretty easy. I create a filter like I did with priority 5, and I just simply click on the bell and I give it a color, and the color doesn't matter, it's just for you. I'm going to give it red. So I'm saying 12. There are 12 priority 5 jobs in this view. And as different jobs change, as say if jobs become late, then I can these numbers will update. And my alerts always show me, as long as there's one row in these grids, it'll show me a number. Otherwise it'd be 0, right? And why would we want to show that? But in case you do want to see all of your alerts, you can click on this little eyeball over here on the right and see all the alerts that actually have no that are actually just 0 right now. But if you want to hide the zeros, you can do that, and these alerts will appear as jobs fall within that category. And you also notice that inventory alerts work the same way, and those inventory alerts are on the inventory plan. So if I click on the low stock alert, it'll bring me over to the inventory plan, and it'll show me my low stock or my safety shortage items. So this is general navigation. We'll dive into each of these panes a little deeper, but I wanted to just give you a quick overview of moving around in the system, and I hope I did that. But if you have any questions, feel free to comment or reach out to us. Okay? Thanks for watching.